Have you ever really stopped to think about how the world gets into your head? I mean, not as this blurry mess of light and sound, but as a stable, meaningful reality. Well, today we're diving deep into the neuroscience that shows how your brain isn't just seeing the world, it's actively building it from the ground up.
So, let's start with a puzzle. This is a big one, a mystery that has kind of stumped cognitive scientists for decades, and it really gets to the very core of what it means to be a thinking, feeling person. I mean, just think about it for a second. Right now, your senses are being flooded with all sorts of information. And yet, out of all that chaos, you effortlessly form a solid concept. You look at a round, red thing, and your brain doesn't just register colors and shapes, it sees an apple. So how in the world does that happen? How does that raw sensory noise turn into a real, meaningful idea? Well, this right here, this is what's known as the grounding problem. It's the huge question of how our abstract thoughts, the mental building blocks of our world, actually connect to reality. And the exciting part is, we're going to see how modern science has finally started to crack the code. Okay, so the first major clue to solving this mystery completely flips the script on how we used to think the brain worked. It turns out our brain isn't just sitting back, waiting for information to come to it. Nope, it's doing something much, much smarter. So you can just forget that old idea of the brain being like a sponge, just passively soaking up data. The reality is way more dynamic. Your brain is constantly making guesses, running little simulations, and trying to predict what's going to happen next. It's not a sponge, it's an active prediction machine.
And why is it doing all this work? Because its number one goal, its most fundamental drive, is to not be surprised. See, an unexpected event could be a threat, or at the very least, it's just inefficient. So the brain's whole operation is designed to make accurate predictions so you can navigate the world without a hitch.
And this all happens in this constant three-step loop. First, your brain predicts what it thinks it's about to see or hear or feel. Then, step 2, you sense what's actually out there. And finally, step 3, the brain corrects. It compares its prediction to what really happened, and any difference, what scientists call a prediction error, is used to update its internal model of the world, making its next guess even better.
This totally reframes what learning really is, right? It's not about memorizing facts from a textbook. Real learning is this active, never-ending cycle of predicting, sensing, and correcting. It's your brain getting better and better at guessing the true nature of reality.
Now, get ready for a really counterintuitive idea. To build a stable world out of all that chaotic sensory input, your brain has to get incredibly good at one thing: ignoring most of it. Yeah, ignoring it.
Think about a simple coffee mug. The raw visual information hitting your eyes changes dramatically depending on the angle you see it from, or the lighting in the room. It's a completely different pattern of light every single time. And yet, your brain instantly throws out all that irrelevant detail and locks onto the core idea. It just sees mug. That skill is called invariance, and it's an absolute cornerstone of intelligence.
But this amazing predictive power isn't just happening in some abstract computer. The second huge clue to solving our mystery shows us that the very structure of our thoughts actually comes from the structure of our own bodies. The old way of thinking was that the mind was like a brain in a vat, this computer locked inside the skull, totally separate from the body. But we now know that sensing, thinking, and acting aren't these neat separate steps. They're all tangled up together. Our minds are literally grounded in our bodies. And this quote just captures that new understanding perfectly. Thinking isn't some clean internal process. It's a messy, dynamic, interactive dance between your brain, your body, and the world all around you.
So if our thoughts are grounded in our physical bodies, how does the brain keep it all organized? Well, there's a powerful model called conceptual spaces, which suggests it does it geometrically. I want you to imagine a huge, multidimensional map inside your mind, where similar ideas are grouped close together, like neighborhoods in a city.
This is such a profound shift in thinking. Meaning isn't just a definition you can look up. In your mind, meaning actually has a shape, a location, a structure. On this map, red and orange are close neighbors, right? But red and salty are miles apart.
And these conceptual neighborhoods are anchored by what scientists call prototypes. They're the best, most ideal example, sort of like the gravitational center for an idea. For instance, when I say the word bird, you probably picture something like a robin, right? Not a penguin or an ostrich. That's because the robin is the prototype that defines the center of your bird space. Okay, so let's pull all of this together and connect it to one of the biggest topics of our time, artificial intelligence. Because understanding our own minds gives us a much-needed reality check on the kinds of minds we're trying to build.
After everything we've just talked about, this much should be crystal clear. Human intelligence is not like software running on the hardware of the brain. It is something fundamentally, profoundly different.
Our concepts, everything from Apple to justice, are basically the echoes of physical action and sensation. They are shaped by the experience of moving through, interacting with, and actually feeling a real world. This is the grounding that current AI just completely lacks.
And this brings us to the really critical question. If our ability to understand a simple word like warm is tied to the memory of the sun on our skin, or if heavy is tied to the strain in our muscles, what can an AI which has never felt a single thing ever truly understand?
This whole journey brings us to a really powerful conclusion. And it's not just about brains in general, but about your brain and how you experience your life every single moment of every single day. So, the grounding problem, that big mystery we started with, for the most part, it's solved. Your brain isn't just a passive receiver of reality. It is an active builder, a map maker, creating a stable, meaningful world through that constant, predictive dance with your body and your environment.
And that leaves us with this one powerful, unavoidable truth. You are not a brain that's just piloting a body around. To be a thinker at all is, first and foremost, to be an embodied creature, embedded in the rich, messy, beautiful tapestry of the physical world.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Your understanding of the world isn't fixed. It's constructed, piece by piece, from your experiences. So now that you know your thoughts literally have a shape in your mind, how will you choose to build them?